Clonehenge, our second map, is really the first opportunity we have to introduce the player to one of our new gameplay modes. Sudden death can get really exciting but frantic at times, and so we knew that we had to be very careful about how we laid out this map, and so we decided to limit it a little bit to 3 small entrances on the left.
So you'll notice there are the 3 small entrances on the left. We laid out the unbuildable tiles in such a way that that channels down to 2 individual channels. We wanted to give the player the knowledge that they would do best in sudden death if they built into these channels and took advantage of the areas that we were letting them reach to. So they're building down into 2 on this. We had originally thought that this would be a little bit too simple, that we were
being a little too conservative.
Yeah, we had thought that maybe we were being a little too conservative in terms of the amount of flexibility that we were giving the players, but as it turns out, balancing between these 2 elements, who's getting upgrades first, who's getting more power first, where these are all going, was actually kind of interesting from a gameplay standpoint. I know this wound up being a map that we replayed ourselves more often than we were expecting, because that simplification of, okay, where does the power go, how does it all balance, was really interesting for us. And for entry-level players who had never seen this type of game mode before, there's really no other tower defense that does sudden death like we're doing here. It was eye-opening. Reviewers loved it, players loved it. This has been really successful for us.
Yeah, it's a fine line between simplifying too much and not really providing enough of a puzzle, or allowing a puzzle that is too complex and too hard to understand at such an early point of the map. And I think that the map does a great job at making it just challenging enough, but simple enough that you can grasp it, so you end up really getting hooked. I know I was hooked on it and playing for quite some time. One of the challenges that we had in the art here was being able to show the path and leading the player to understand that the path cannot be built on, but at the same time not creating something that looked really static. In our first iteration, we laid out the path that encompassed the full tile, which made very clear what you could or could not build on, but also made everything look really rectangular. And in Grasslands, you're dealing with things that they're very natural, and I really wanted the path to look like something that's worn out. It wasn't actually built by people, it's just people have been walking in those areas for so long that the grass simply got worn down and died off, to bring some more of that organic feeling to it. And so once we started reducing that a little bit and adding some curves, and you really start coming together, and we have to find that right line. If we reduced the path width too much, it would become hard to tell whether or not you could place something there.
As a nice little detail of design, you'll notice there's a reservoir area at the back where you can place the towers. The first iteration of this we created, the area at the front was about the same as what you see, and they trickled down into one spot in the back as a thin pathway. As we found out, the best strategy to do was just to put all of your towers at the exit and just concentrate everything back there, which wasn't really that interesting from a gameplay standpoint. So we decided to broaden out the unbuildable area in the back and focus the player more towards the game. And I think that worked pretty well.
Yeah, it's interesting that when I first started playing this map, even with the thickened area, my first approach was to try and place a bunch of towers back there, to try and hit them with missiles and high-range towers, but it really works out best, in my opinion, when you create this big vertical front